Namaskar and welcome to another inspiring episode of Live Your Best Life Unscripted. Today, we are embarking on a journey into the world of nutrition, the foundation of our health and well-being. Nutrition is all about balance. Our bodies thrive on macronutrients like carbohydrates, proteins, and fats for energy and growth, while micronutrients such as vitamins and minerals are vital for maintaining overall health and supporting essential bodily functions. Joining us today are two exceptional experts, Dr. Parag Singhal and Dr. Ratnesh Lal, who will guide us through this intricate landscape. Together, we will uncover the roles these nutrients play, discuss the science behind protein supplementation, and address common myths to help you make informed decisions about your diet. Now, whether you are a fitness enthusiast or someone looking to improve your daily health, this episode is packed with insights you won't want to miss. First, we have Dr. Parag Singhal. Dr. Singhal is a highly accomplished consultant physician and endocrinologist practicing in the UK. With decades of experience, he specializes in managing lifestyle-related conditions like diabetes, obesity, and hormonal imbalances. His passion for evidence-based medicine has helped countless individuals achieve optimal health. Dr. Singhal, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you amongst us. Our second guest is Dr. Ratnesh Lal, who brings a unique perspective from Herbalife. A global leader in nutrition and wellness, Dr. Lal has dedicated his career to understanding the science behind supplements and creating products that meet diverse health needs. With extensive experience in health and product innovation, he is here to share actionable insights on how supplements like protein powders can support daily nutrition. Dr. Lal, welcome to our show. Nutrition fuels our bodies and minds. So let's start by understanding its core components and their roles. So welcome, Dr. Parag. It's good to have you in India. I believe you were on a whirlwind journey across different countries and all. So how's been the trip till now?
First of all, delighted to be here. That trip has been very hectic, and it is about uncovering different cultures and especially Cambodia, the Angkor Wat temple, the largest religious structure in the world, is just out of this world.
Oh, fantastic. So you were in Cambodia. Any places after that?
I went to Bangkok for a few days just to see how they're still what you call in reverence of Lord Ram and the whole Ramayana. So it was quite a fascinating journey.
Good to have you with us, Dr. Parag.
Pleasure.
Dr. Lal, you are based out of Delhi.
Indeed.
And I love your smile, by the way,
Thank you so much. Very few people say that. Pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be on this informative episode. And most importantly, privileged to be on a platform with Dr. Parag. I consider him my guru. I've read a lot of his articles when I was a medical student. The fact that I get to meet him in person, speak with him, along with him, really a privilege.
Pleasure.
It's really wonderful.
So welcome, Dr. Parag and Dr. Lal. Good to have you with us.
Thank you.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, nutrients or nutrition, it fuels our bodies and mind. Let's start by understanding its core components and their roles. So let me ask you, Dr. Parag, what is the role of macronutrients and micronutrients, and how important are they?
So let me answer the second part first, how important and why we are talking about the nutrients, because let's put a context around it. All the health challenges across the world are under tremendous pressure, financial and delivery of healthcare. And one of the important aspects is rising incidence and prevalence of obesity, which is largely preventable. And it is driving the costs of healthcare higher and higher. And we all know, we have all heard about it, prevention is better than cure. So it is so important that we start talking about preventing obesity, which is linked to diabetes, and how nutrition can play an important role in preventing that. Ultimately, that's a crux of the matter. So coming to the first point about macro and micronutrients. So macronutrients are largely divided into three: carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. They are responsible for energy, providing energy, fuel, and also as a hormone for regeneration of your cell repair, wound repair, and so on and so forth. And by and large, most of the people probably would be getting macronutrients. But in India, there is a problem of not having enough protein in our diet. The normal protein requirement could range from 0.8 milligram to 1 milligram per kg body weight. And we often, partly because of us being vegetarian and variety of reasons, we are not having enough protein supply in our body. And as the conversation goes on, we'll talk about it, what is the importance of that. Micronutrients, generally, if somebody is having a balanced diet, would be having enough micronutrients, whether it is vitamins or minerals. But the specific role of micronutrients come when the diet is not balanced. And that is where the supplementation becomes very, very important, because the primary role of micronutrients, apart from replacing the minerals and so on and so forth, is also working or providing antioxidants to the body, which we all know how oxidants are responsible for heart disease, for rising cancers, and so on and so forth. So therefore, the importance of micronutrients is in that context, not in the context of our energy supply.
Thank you for those insights, Dr. Parag. It's good to hear that they do play an important, the micronutrients and micronutrients play an important role as far as, the on a daily requirement for any human person is. So, as you heard from Dr. Parag, how nutrition, macronutrients and micronutrients are important. Now, nutrition is a delicate balance of, macronutrients and micronutrients that work together for optimal health. Now, let's explore their importance, and let me ask, Dr. Parag once again, that how the macronutrients and micronutrients are overall important for maintaining your energy, immunity, and overall well-being.
Thank you. So, talking about fats and carbohydrates, they provide fuel to the body, which is responsible. Otherwise, we won't be able to function. That's so important. And it has to be taken in the right amount. Whilst proteins are responsible for other bodily functions, especially providing element of immunity, body repair, and what we often refer to as anabolism. If we are not going to have enough protein in the body, the catabolism of the cells will start, and that is not good for the body. Now, supplementation or addition of micronutrients or having micronutrients is complementary to the whole process. So I think the balanced diet must have proper composition of macronutrients and also micronutrients, whether you call it minerals, vitamins, and that is where the diet has to have element of fruits, and by having that all that natural thing, your body will have enough macro and micronutrients we need.
Perfect. So, ladies and gentlemen, building on that, let's now discuss how these nutrients come together to create balance in our diets. And my next question is to you, Dr. Lal. How do you see these nutritions or nutrients contributing towards a healthier lifestyle?
So we've talked about macro and micronutrients, but there is also a component of which age group you are in. Macronutrients I call a teen patti ka game.
Okay.
So if you're in an age group of, sir, like say adolescents, you would probably require more carbohydrates and proteins. If you remember our childhood, we used to play in the summer heat in cricket. We would lose all that energy, fluids, electrolytes.
Well, I used to play gulli danda that time.
Even better. So that age group requires that one macronutrient more. As you progress in your 20s, you probably require more micronutrients. I'll tell you why. Because you are having a diet on the go. Your diet may be probably fast foods, like the way things are going. They may not have the nutrients which you need. So the balance which sir has just talked about will not be maintained. As you reach your 30s and 40s and your body stops absorbing nutrients in the manner in which when you're growing, that's where the supplementation part comes in. Especially for minerals and vitamins. And then you would also have to think about certain details like how much sugar intake are you taking, what sort of sugars, carbs are you eating, what sort of proteins are you eating. All of that really comes into play. So the balance is more to do with a certain calibration attached to it. And I'm really glad that we are doing this episode, because a lot of people think that this one thing is the balanced diet. There is no one size fits all. You actually have to see where you are, what your needs are. If you're an athlete, you need something completely different. If you have a sedentary job and you can't do much about it, you need completely something different.
Yeah.
If you have a job which is on the go, you need completely different diets. So it's more about calibration. That's why what you said was very important in the introduction. We need to be informed as of today. Those times have gone when desi ghee and jowar ki roti used to be the primary nutrient source. I wish we could go back to those times. We are in an age where our diets are not allowing us to get the proper nutrition. That's why we need this sort of information, and that's why this podcast really becomes important for people to get that information.
Great. You mentioned twice on the go, and so tell me, what is your on the go diet?
My on the go diet is mostly proteins.
Okay.
I do a bit of carb, but I do a lot of protein, and I'll tell you why. Because we forget that I'm at an age, I'm in my mid 40s, I'm at an age where I might be prone to injury. So I do a lot of protein intake to, first of all, build my immunity. People forget that proteins are essential for building immunity. Secondly, I also do it for muscle repair, joint repair, any prevention of any injury. So my primary go-to right now at this point in time is proteins.
Perfect. You said you are in your mid 40s.
Yeah, I am.
You don't look like one.
I maybe look like you actually look younger to me, but let's not debate that.
Thank you, Dr. La. So protein, is often highlighted for its importance in our diet. Let's understand why it holds such a significant place in nutrition. Let me ask you, Dr. Parag, and as he mentioned, about muscle repair and everything, how does protein support, muscle repair, immunity, and overall health? And what are the varying, needs across different individuals? That was also mentioned. So what do you like to say on that?
So I think Ratnesh made a very important point around different requirements depending on your age groups. So somebody who is very, very active athlete would require a lot more protein compared to somebody who's just, doing an admin job or desk job. Regardless of that, everybody needs a certain amount of protein. Now, that protein is responsible for your cell growth. So your body, the fundamental unit in our body is a cell. And if that cell starts getting damaged, the repair is dependent on protein. The growth of the cell is dependent on protein. If you have a wound cut, the repair of the wound is dependent on protein, not dependent on fat or carbohydrate. So the protein is an anabolic hormone which actually provides, as Ratnesh said, immunity plus cell metabolism and repair. And if cells are damaged in the body, then your function, the bodily functions are lost. The cellular function is lost. And cellular function is at mitochondrial, in technical terms, but in layman terms, the core unit in the body. So if that is not functioning, how is your body, all the physiology and all the metabolism, all the cycles, different physiological cycles are going to work? So everything will be destroyed. So it's like chip in the computer. If chip is destroyed, finish.
That's a great example. In fact, so you heard from, our two doctors here, how protein plays an important role, in your muscle repair or on a day-to-day requirements. And for those who are looking to enhance their protein intake, supplementation, this can be a helpful option. Now let's discuss how to approach it. And my next question is to you, Dr. Lal. When might protein supplementation be helpful, and how individuals can make informed choices about proteins?
Wonderful question. So we should first understand what are the sources of protein. For vegetarians, it's dals, lentils, paneer, tofu. For non-vegetarians, it's preferably white meat, eggs. But there are also options of supplementation, because an egg white gives you 3 grams of protein. But if I am 90 kgs, like sir had earlier said, that you need at least 1 gram of protein per body weight, how do I eat? How many eggs do I eat to reach that 90 gram of protein? How do I eat so much paneer or tofu, or how much dal do I do? People say I eat chicken. They forget to tell you that they're having butter chicken.
Well, that's quite yum.
Yum, but that's called hedonic protein intake. So you feel happy that you've had protein, but actually you're not having it in the right form. You're having it in a combination that will eventually harm you. So first point was this about what are the sources of protein. Then there is a component called biological uptake value. Vegetable sources of protein have a low biological uptake value. Like I said, if I have a 1 egg white, it has 3 grams of protein. It has 100% biological uptake value. I will get 3 grams of protein. But if I eat half a kg of chicken, I will only get 20% of protein, because the 20% is the biological uptake value of chicken. So around 50 grams, 45-50 grams. It goes lower in vegetarian diets. And so in vegetarians, I feel there is a certain need for protein supplementation, especially as you progress in age, or if you're indulging in sporting activities, you want to be in an active lifestyle, that level of protein supplementation needs to be maintained. And if it is not there, it needs to be introduced in your diet. My third point is related to the butter chicken comment, jokes apart. It should also be in a form which is healthy. So now we are in the age of air fryers. I remember 10 years ago, I used to be shelling eggs, 10 or 20 of them to prepare for the day. But now you can actually have chicken without any oil addition to it, or maybe slight olive oil, which is also healthy, a healthy source of fat. So these three aspects of which diet you have, which what is the biological uptake value of the source of protein you are having, and the fact that you are having it in a healthy manner, a healthy format, let me say, a healthy medium. These three are really important. People miss this point.
Thank you. I just caught upon, what was very interesting when you were explaining or sharing your thoughts on this. You mentioned something about the white meat. Anything wrong with the red meat?
Red meat mostly in diets, although it is a very good source of creatine, and creatine is a very essential micronutrient. It helps in a number of ways, even including increasing your awareness and intelligence. It has an element of added fat into it. So red meat has a layer of fat which you see is called as marbling. You see the white streaks of it. That fat, again, even if you have it in a roasted form, it will still give you more fat along with the protein. So you are slightly defeating the purpose of having protein, but it's not that it's a wrong source of protein. Have it in a balanced manner. Have slightly more white meats, but have red meat, but in a more calibrated, slightly proportional manner, which is less, just to ensure that you're not creating a spike of fats while also trying to gain proteins.
Dr.
Just to
Parag,
put
would you-
just yeah, just to put that in the context, I think that's an important point. So, in the context of patients, they often ask me, and as Ratnesh said, my advice to them is, on a daily basis, try to have white meat. But that doesn't mean that you can't have red meat once a week. We are all here to enjoy, the pleasures of life.
Exactly.
So by all means, but yes, certainly, red meat on a daily basis or red meat in excess needs to be avoided. Cholesterol and fat is definitely related to red meat consumption. Research is ongoing whether excessive consumption of red meat leads to some forms of higher incidence of cancers, especially bowel cancers. So there is kind of debate going on there. So there is some noise in the system around that. So that's why I think it is about having moderation.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts on the subject. And whole foods provide the foundation of good nutrition, but protein-rich foods can play a vital role in balance. Now let's explore these options, and let me ask Dr. Singhal, what are some natural protein-rich foods you recommend for a balanced diet?
So for vegetarian, Ratnesh has spoken about lentils and tofu, paneers, and milk products. They give a decent supply, but not enough. Not enough. So any vegetarian relying on just lentils and all this stuff will not get enough protein. So they have to rely on either supplementation, or a person who is also having a meat eater should be able to get enough protein by eggs, white meat, and also, of course, vegetarian diet. By and large, vegetarians do need protein supplementation. Now, where does that protein supplementation come from if somebody doesn't want to consume eggs or white meat or red meat? That is a question. So that is where the debate has to be, that protein consumption has to be from a source which is safe, researched, and so on and so forth, because there are many protein products available in the market. So it's quite confusing for a common person. Where do they get that extra protein supplementation from?
Thank you for sharing that. And you heard that, how proteins play an important role, and also, especially vegetarians, when you don't get the proper, or the adequate proteins, how supplements play an important role. And supplements, can bridge dietary gaps when used wisely. Now let's discuss how to incorporate them effectively. And I'm going to ask you, Dr. Lal, is how can supplements effectively support nutrition? without replacing whole foods, okay? And what factors should the people consider?
Wonderful. Since we are talking about proteins, I'll actually talk about protein supplementation. Because it's a very, like Sir said, it's a confusing topic right now. You enter pharmacies and you see this mountain of boxes of different large canisters of protein, which really, I mean, if I would not have been informed, I would not be able to make a choice. So let's understand, let's go to the basics. Sir talked about the foods from which they are available. Let's talk about different forms of protein. So one is casein, which you get from milk. That is about 80% of milk. When you curdle milk or you make paneer, the water which is left behind, when that is dried, that gives whey. That is about 20% of that entire milk quantity. So first of all, when you're having milk, you're primarily having casein. So that's a very good source. Also, milk has calcium, etc., and other nutrients. Whey is a good source of protein because it is absorbed well. Whey itself is divided into three forms: concentrate, isolate, and hydrolysate. Concentrate is one which is the least processed. It hasn't been like we call ultra processed foods. It hasn't been processed, so it gives you a number of benefits, including amino acids, which you otherwise would not get from like lentils. Some lentils do not have a very good amino acid profile. Whey isolate should be chosen if you are looking to just build pure muscle, because that has less amino acids, but it is processed to a certain level, so the body absorbs it faster. And that is why a lot of gym goers choose whey isolate as their post-workout nutrition right after, because after your workout for 45 minutes, your body is in a catabolic state. It is trying to get energy, because what is workout? It is controlled injury. You have basically injured your muscles by lifting weights. So you need to repair that. Sir talked about repair.
Correct, yeah.
So that can really help. The last form of whey protein, hydrolysate, is even better absorbed because it has been treated to a higher level of degree. The two factors which go against it is that it doesn't have enough amino acids and it tastes awful. So that's why it's not very popular. Then let's come to other protein supplements, like you have there's soy. A lot of people forget that soy is a wonderful source of not just protein, but also hitting the satiety center of brain.
Yeah, okay.
So people say it suppresses hunger. It doesn't suppress hunger. It fills you up.
So you feel fuller.
You feel fuller.
Yeah,
You don't have to, like I said, hedonic eating is a term which now a lot of nutritionists are using, where you eat even if you don't want to eat, just because there is butter chicken or some roasted meat in front of you.
You
But
can call it tandoori chicken also, right?
Tandoori is still healthier.
Still
So I
healthier.
always
Still healthier.
That's why I always, my go-to is butter chicken. Like we joke, butter chicken and diet coke.
So you will include jalfrezi chicken in
Jalfrezi
that.
chicken. So we are creating a menu. This is almost a conversation about opening a restaurant. So soy is one left out protein, I feel, which a lot of people don't give enough attention to. Now, soy in tofu again has very low biological uptake value. That's why protein supplements which are based on soy are a very important manner of consuming protein, as well as ensuring that you feel full, because it stays in the body for a longer time. Its digestion process is slightly longer as compared to whey. So these are the various forms in which you can consume. And I have given you a spectrum So the audience will actually now be able to understand that this spectrum is for you to be able to choose of which protein is best suited to your needs. If you are in a sedentary lifestyle, if you're in an athletic lifestyle, if you're just trying to be in a balanced nutrition, this is the spectrum for you.
Just to add to that, if I may, Ajay. So, what Ratnesh said, just imagine and contrast it with high carbohydrate diet. So, protein diet is going to give you a feeling of fullness, and effectively it is delaying your gastric emptying. So, that is why this feeling of fullness. Whilst carbohydrate diet is going to cause massive insulin release because the body senses glucose intake effectively. And that insulin intake is responsible for further hunger. You think you have eaten a big carbohydrate meal and you should be full, but 2 hours later or 3 hours later, you will be feeling very hungry because of insulin release.
Correct, yeah.
And that's the difference. People forget. And that is the importance of protein in our diet. Every time we eat, we have to have enough protein to be able to prevent hyperinsulinemia.
Hyperinsulinemia. That's something new I learned today, how proteins play an important role and can lead to hyperinsulinemia.
Increased carbohydrates can lead to higher insulin levels.
High insulin levels, okay.
Carbohydrates.
But
I'll tell you, insulin actually is the joker. So the teen patti which I told you, now let's take it further, is the joker of the pack. Insulin's first job is to break down glucose. Its second job is to be the courier to carry the glucose into your muscles. So that's why when I have my protein, I also ensure that there is a certain quantity of glucose in it, so that my insulin is present and that insulin then carries the protein to my muscles. The third thing it does is that once you have that in your body, you've had an insulin spike, like sir said, it causes fat deposition. So you must have noticed for those patients who are on injectable insulin, they will be otherwise thin, but they will have truncal obesity. That truncal obesity is because that insulin is causing that. Sir must have seen it in his patients.
No, I mean, that's so, as Ratnesh says, our truncal obesity, we call it central adiposity, drives insulin resistance. So, insulin resistance of people with type 2 diabetes, there are two components of it. We are talking about diabetes now, just digressing from nutrition a little bit, but it's important, it's related. That's why I thought I'll mention it. So, we are talking about genotype and phenotype. So, people with type 2 diabetes or family, if there is family history of type 2 diabetes, you are genetically predisposed to develop type 2 diabetes. But you can mitigate that by having healthy lifestyle. You are making it worse by already having bad genes, and on top of that, having wrong food and causing truncal obesity or central adiposity. It's a disaster. You're bound to have type 2 diabetes. So the two components are genotype and phenotype. So that is where this whole business of healthy diet comes in, protein intake, to prevent or to suppress insulin secretion. Insulin secretion or increased level of insulin secretion is a not nice thing to happen in the body.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So Dr. Parag, Ratnesh just mentioned about your practice. Would you like to share any particular case, from within your practice or your experience, and where a balanced nutrition has made transformative results?
So this is not just isolated cases. We often see established people with type 2 diabetes or pre-diabetes, those who are obese, especially central adiposity. Our first intervention is always healthy lifestyle. We resort to medication only when we feel that the lifestyle is not making much impact. Now, as humans, we underestimate what we eat. We overestimate how we burn. That's a human tragedy. So every patient will say, I don't eat anything. And my standard answer to that is, Well, you may be needing even less than that. If you are having only 2 sandwiches in a day, maybe you just need 1 sandwich a day. I mean, clearly your weight is going up, isn't it? Something is wrong, unless it is a metabolically driven obesity condition. People who have managed to lose weight and flatten their tummy, their diabetes has disappeared. Or they don't develop diabetes. That's the impact of that. And therefore, it is so important, this podcast and the messaging to the wider public, the importance of healthy diet and having that proper nutrients, including protein.
Thank you for sharing that. So, you know, supplements have made a difference in many lives. And you heard, you know, Dr. Parag talking about the transformative, how, you know, nutrition makes the difference. So let's dive into some, you know, impactful examples. And I would like to ask you, Dr. Lal, okay, from your work, okay, what examples stand out of people benefiting from smart supplementation?
That's again a wonderful question. I've been a gym goer for almost 15, 20 years now.
You look one.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Sadly, I've stopped for a couple of years, but I've seen a number of generations. Like I said in my first comment, for beginners and going all the way to people who have now become specialists. The one thing which I see for people who want an active lifestyle, let's not just limit it to gym. Someone who's even doing calisthenics, high intensity training, or even cycling, walking, all of that. They all need supplementation because they're putting their body under stress, like I told you. It's some sort of stress. In the gym, it is anaerobic stress, which does not require so much oxygen burning. When you're running, it is aerobic exercises, like you see aerobic classes, etc. So it is a certain stress that you've put in your body. Now, how does that stress go away? How much food, we were just discussing, how much food can you eat? Someone asked a question, which is a nice vegetable to improve your digestion. Papaya has an enzyme called papain, which really helps you digest food. But how much of papaya can you eat in a day? And how many times can you eat it in a day? Rose apple, which we see very common in Southeast Asia, is an excellent source of vitamin D. But how many rose apples can you eat in a day? So people who are in that, and let me not just limit it to those who have an active lifestyle. People who are in sedentary jobs, they do not understand that because those diets are not really fulfilling the needs. Sometimes I've come across people who otherwise say that they eat very healthy, and this is a live example of my immediate manager in a pharmaceutical company. His vitamin D3 level, the lowest, which should be 30 international units, his vitamin D3 level was 5.
Oh.
And he had started gymming, so he started asking me questions. And he started getting joint pain. And I was like, have you done your vitamin D3? And he's like, my gym trainer didn't tell me. I was like, so what you are losing out on is the fact that you are putting your body under stress, but you're not really supplementing it to take care of that stress, to make sure that that stress goes away. That's where supplementation really comes in, and that's where awareness is very important. Vitamin B3, B6, vitamin D, zinc. There's a lot of talk about magnesium right now, sodium picolinate, selenium, all of these. I'm not saying, again, this is an entire spectrum. You won't be able to eat everything. Supplementation won't be able to give you everything. But you need to make sure what is it that suits you. So seek guidance. Seek clear, research-driven, if possible, from a practicing medical professional, if not from a nutritionist, but seek that guidance. Understand where your body is today and what is it that your body requires.
Now that's very important. Understanding our unique needs is crucial to making the right choices in nutrition. Now let's explore how to approach this confidently. And Dr. Parag, I would like to ask you, and what should the listeners, consider when accessing their protein needs and incorporating supplements?
So, before coming to the protein, can I just add to what Ratnesh said about vitamin D? I think that's such an important point. The primary source of vitamin D is sunlight. So, milk products are essential here, but primary source is sunlight. And how our lifestyle is these days, we travel in cars, so we don't get enough sunlight. And moreover, all the smoke and smog and everything in the atmosphere doesn't allow UV rays to come and be absorbed from the skin. The second problem is our dark skin doesn't allow the transformation or the conversion of UV into vitamin D.
Oh.
So it's a dark skin problem. So 90% of dark skinned individuals like us will not have vitamin D, enough vitamin D, will be vitamin D deficient, 90%.
That's an eye-opener.
Yeah. 50% of Caucasians are vitamin D deficient, but typically, as we call it, a dark skinned individual, you bet they'll be vitamin D deficient. And we talked about very, very low levels. Therefore, the supplementation of vitamin D is very, very important. And the added problem with vitamin D is also that the absorption of whatever vitamin D we are taking is only 50%. So you have to actually enhance the consumption of vitamin D. Now, vitamin D is a very, very important. People forget the importance of vitamin D. It's not just a mineral or a supplement, it's a hormone as well. So it is responsible for your bones, for your calcium metabolism, but more importantly, immunity. There's a lot of what you call debatable research and a lot of otherwise research, but there is enough anecdotal evidence that having enough levels of vitamin D in the body prevents you from having infections or but there are multiple factors for immunity. So coming back to the protein now. So eventually what we need to do is have decide, depending on our body weight, what is our adequate requirement of protein. So somebody says 60 kg average body weight, you're talking about 50 to 60 grams of protein. So then, as I said, vegetarians, there's no way they're going to have enough protein in the diet. We can't convert vegetarians into meat eaters. That's not going to happen. So therefore, they have to have that protein supplementation. And Ratnesh has given a master class on different types of proteins, casein, whey protein, and soya, and so on and so forth. And I think it is about how do we inform the pros and cons of different protein. And your masterclass, I'm sure, will help in listeners understanding
Exactly.
how to go about choosing a protein.
Yeah, I hope so.
Thank you, Dr. Parag, for sharing this. And ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about consuming different kind of vitamins, consuming different kind of supplements. What is also important is that how do we ensure that safely and quality is a key to building trust in the supplements we choose. So let's explore how we can do this effectively. And Dr. Lal, I would like to ask you the next question is, what steps can individuals take to safely and effectively integrate protein supplements into their daily nutritional needs?
Wonderful. As I told you, now we have an audacity of choices of supplementations. We are also in a stage where we don't know whether what the label says is actually what the product contains. So it is very important for people who are starting on their journey to improve their lifestyle to understand how to read labels. What is it that their supplements have? And I'll take an example of protein. I have seen brands, there's no need to take any names, I've seen brands where a usual scoop size ranges from 25 to 30 grams. The label will say that in 30 grams, you're getting 20 grams of protein, and the rest 10 grams is carbs. And then they'll add a few amino acids, which is anyway present in proteins. Now that scares me. Why? Because I'm already on a carbohydrate diet. I am trying to add a protein supplement, but that supplement is increasing my carbohydrate. So a person needs to educate themselves. A lot of people do it through the internet. I'm not really sure if it's a valid source unless and until you're going to sites like Cleveland Clinic or Mayo Clinic or WebMD, which are established sites of medical research. But like my previous point, they should go and consult a nutritionist, maybe a medical practitioner if they need to. But the fact of being able to read what you are having, just like you open a menu and you choose, you read what you want to eat. This is exactly what people need to do.
Thanks for those insights. Now let's leave our listeners with some actionable insights they can apply immediately to improve, nutrition. And Dr. Parag, I would like to ask you that, what are your top tips for meeting protein needs through everyday meals?
So having enough milk products in the diet, having enough vegetables and lentils, that's so important. There are diets and vegetarian diets which give you decent protein, not enough, but decent protein. So maximize that. That's the first thing. But if there is a gap, which is probably bound to be, then supplement it by reading the labels and choosing the best possible protein supplement available. My top tip is we should do this in moderation. We should not exceed the average daily intake of protein. If we start disregarding the common advice, common rule of thumb, everything has to be done in moderation.
Exactly.
If you do in moderation, you are in safe space. If you forget that message, you are entering into dangerous waters.
Absolutely. Ratnesh mentioned, in one of his master classes, he also mentioned, he was talking about butter chicken. He also mentioned about milk. You also mentioned about milk, but he went a step further and he spoke about curdling of the milk, which of course is dahi, if I understand
Dahi, yes,
correctly.
yes.
So what do you think about malai maar ke lassi?
In moderation, everything goes in moderation.
Okay.
You and I know best how we moderate our diets. We are not asking people to become militaristic about their diets, about their nutrition. We are not trying to raise an army of supermen. We are just making sure that people are able to prevent diseases, are able to develop immunities, especially in the sort of environment that we live in. And Sir really made a very good point that supplementation is required even in regular diets. What we might consider regular may not be. People say that having a Starbucks coffee gives them really good energy levels, but they don't realize that it is also a diuretic. So it takes away fluid from your body and leaves you susceptible to cramps. So people don't realize there is a good and bad of everything. Coffee is good, it's actually nice, but then it also causes something bad. In moderation, everything is perfect. I cannot have an entire box of a protein supplement and blow up into an Arnold Schwarzenegger right now. So my message is, and I say this to a lot of my patients, it takes 3 days for an idea, it takes 3 weeks for a habit, and it takes 3 months for a lifestyle. And when you do that, you are able to go on a very productive, progressive journey to a healthy lifestyle. Just hang in there for those 3 months and you will see the benefit throughout your life.
Let's stay there. Let's stay there. And let's simplify this for our listeners. Okay. What would be your practical advice? Somebody who is planning to get into supplementation and start using supplements, and how would they choose that they get the maximum benefits?
Since I've been a practicing doctor, I would first suggest just to do a basic blood profile to get to know where your deficiencies are, especially a vitamin and calcium profile. Just make sure that I'm not sending a person to do activities where they might injure their bones or cause other injuries. So that is my first go-to response. People ask me a lot. Like you said, I look like a gym goer. So people ask me a lot, what do I do? And they say, I've taken a gym membership. I'm like, the membership won't make you healthy. You actually going progressively and gradually. It is not an overnight process. So I get my patients or anyone who consults me to do their basic profile and tell them that hang in there. In 3 weeks, you will start seeing changes. You will start feeling changes. But you have to hang in there for 3 weeks. And that's what my advice always is. The dropout rate, sadly, in those 21 days is very high. So I make this joke a lot that after New Year resolutions, from January 1st, you will see gyms are packed.
Yeah.
And by February 14th, gyms are empty because you found your Valentine's date. So people don't see this as a health journey. They see this as a fad, as something exciting to do. That's not a lifestyle. That's just being childish about it. So create a healthy lifestyle. It's for yourself, it's for your family, it's to make sure that you're able to take care not just of yourself, but of those whom you love. And if they see that you're healthy, you will keep them happy. You'll have the energy to keep those who are around you happy.
Just to add to the discussion we were just having and relating this as a personal story. So my son, who has recently graduated as a doctor, he's health conscious and his BMI is only 18 and he's a sporty person. And he calculated our protein intake, which we thought was reasonable based on egg consumption and lentils and what Ratnesh talked about. It turned out to be maximum of 20 grams in a day. Now imagine that's the gap we are talking about. So he does eat meat, predominantly white meat. He avoids red meat. And he calculated his protein intake. Even with moderate intake of white meat, there was a gap in his protein. And therefore, he started using health supplements. Protein supplement, predominantly whey protein. So that's how, in a way, relating this to personal story. For someone young, having white meat, healthy diet, still requiring protein supplementation.
Fantastic. Congratulations on your son's graduation as a
Thank
doctor.
you. Yeah.
Congratulations. So you talked about whey protein. What do you think? Is whey or soy, do we make comparisons on that? Or
Like I said earlier, it has to be a choice made by the person according to their own needs on what is it. So whey is basically for muscle repair. But if you're not really doing active gymming, I actually am going on record. I would not recommend whey if you are not doing gymming, if you are not doing high intensity training. For your other daily needs, soy protein is a much better alternative for the reasons I mentioned earlier. First of all, it has a longer gastric emptying, so it makes you feel fuller. But it also has a significant, not as much as whey, but it has a significant biological uptake value. So it is slightly better than the dals and the paneers and the tofu in its form that you are having. So soy is, as a supplement, is concentrated. So it actually gives you more protein per gram as compared to any of these items that I listed. So whey, again, there is no right or wrong. There is what is correct for me and what is incorrect for me. So people should make that correct choice. People forget, sometimes they make the right choice, but they don't realize that that right choice may not be the one which is correct and might have some long-term harmful effects to their health. So whey protein, for instance, for those who are not doing a lot of training, whey protein actually causes weight gain
Oh, okay.
because you are consuming calories.
Correct.
In the end, it is calories. Soy does not do that. Soy actually helps you lose weight. So again, it's a correct choice for someone who's looking for that. So it's really, people need to make informed choices. We are now in a world which is super connected. You cannot say that you do not have the information, but you need to seek that information from the right sources. Medical practitioners, seasoned medical practitioners, nutritionists. You can actually go online on these websites which I had mentioned and search for what is correct for you.
Perfect. So, as you heard from both our doctors here talking about making the right choices, and as we head towards concluding this episode or day, let's focus on lasting advice to empower our listeners to make informed choices. And I would like to ask you, Dr. Parag, what would be your final advice you would like to give for creating a balance and making informed choices about nutrition?
So balanced diet is important. Take home message. Protein is required, not for gym goers, but for everyone. Protein supplementation is inevitably going to be required. And as we have just discussed, there are advantages of different proteins. For someone like me who wants to lose weight, I'll probably go for soya. Is that right?
Indeed.
So that's the bottom line. So the myth in the country or in the world is that protein is required for gym goers.
Exactly, yeah. And your advice is the other way, that protein is required by everyone, not only people who are going to the gym.
Correct.
Anything you would like to add on?
There are a lot of misconceptions going around the consumption of protein supplements. Again, I would say that learn about macronutrients, learn about which protein is right for you, which is according to your diet, vegetarian or non-vegetarian, and don't reach a stage where you have hunger pangs. देखो भाई, हम उस स्टेज में थे बचपन में जब हम देसी भाषा में कहते खो पड़ के एक भूख लग रही है, तो मम्मी से बोलते थे, मम्मी जल्दी से पराठा बना दो. We have crossed that era. We are in a stage where we need to ensure that we do not have those hunger pangs, because those hunger pangs are somewhere the primary reasons why we eat unhealthy and make unhealthy choices of our foods. So make sure that you're constantly aware of what you're consuming and you're constantly aware of where your nutrient profile are.
By the way, mummy ke parathe ya dadi ke parathe is always welcome. But
Yeah.
having said that,
In moderation.
in moderation. And you heard from our two doctors, that in moderation everything is welcome. And I would like to say that an empowered approach to nutrition can transform lives. So let's end with a message of confidence and clarity. And I would like to ask both our doctors here, first to you, Dr. Lal, what empowering message would you like to share about taking control of your health and nutrition?
It's pure and simple, and I think I'll probably somewhere repeat myself. This is your life. This is about your being devoid of illness and disease. That is what health is. Health is the absence of illness. And when you are in a state of illness, you are not just impacting yourself, you are psychologically negatively impacting those around you, your parents, your wife, your children. So that itself should be a motivating factor, that I need to keep myself healthy. I need to make sure that I know what my blood values are. I need to be making informed choices. My protein source should be not be butter chicken always. I can do
Or a malai wali lassi.
malai lassi sometimes, but then sometimes I can also do parathas, but again
In moderation.
in moderation.
Thank you. What about you, Dr. Parag?
No, so I don't have much to add to what Ratnesh said, except that healthy diet is a process. The final endpoint is about our overall phenotype of the body, obesity. We have to have the right weight. Excess weight in the body is toxic for body, irrespective of organ you're talking about, heart, joints, pancreas, everything, liver. So the combination of two right process of having right diet, leading to right composition of your body weight, will inevitably lead to healthier life and longer life.
All right, now it's the time to turn up the heat on our two doctors. Okay, this is the rapid fire round, and this is no thinking, just gut instincts. Okay, rapid answers, and let's have some fun. So, Dr. Parag, first to you. Okay, are you ready?
Yes. Okay.
Okay, what's the weirdest health remedy that actually works?
I'm not aware of any single health remedy that would work. It's a combination of few things.
Okay, would you like to elaborate? What are those few things?
Well, it's taking Ayurveda medicine.
Okay. Okay. If you could eat one not so healthy food without consequences, what would it be?
Ice creams.
You don't like ice creams?
No, I like ice creams, but what I'm saying is everything which is unhealthy will have consequences. The question is, it's about relativity, it's about comparison. So in comparison, if you want to have something, you can have ice cream.
How about a little caramel on the ice cream?
Oh, even better.
Even better. Okay. What's a health trend you wish would disappear forever?
There is a myth that to lead a healthy lifestyle, one has to join a gym. You can walk, you can run, and be healthy.
I agree. What's the strangest question a patient has ever asked you?
That they don't lose weight despite eating only 500 calories.
Okay, and what that 500 calories would be?
2 sandwiches a day.
Two sandwiches a day. Okay.
When our resting expenditure is 1,500 calories, how is that possible?
Which is worse, skipping breakfast or staying up too late?
Skipping breakfast is not a solution. One has to have healthy meals. Staying up late is going to be detrimental for your body.
What about late night movies?
It depends.
Okay. What's a health hack you think everyone should try at least once?
Intermittent fasting, because there is a myth and these are fashionable things which come and go. And the latest fashion is about a 16-hour fast, intermittent fasting. You don't need to do that. If you're eating a healthy, balanced diet, regular intervals, small portion size, that's more than enough.
Thank you, Dr. Parag. That was fun. Now, let's go after Dr. Lal. Are you ready?
I am, sir.
Okay. What's a health myth that still makes you laugh?
The fact that CrossFit is considered to be an a form of exercise. It is actually quite dangerous because it can cause a condition called rhabdomyolysis. And there are studies which prove that the exercise patterns don't help you at all. They actually rupture your muscles.
Okay. Is it so?
It is. There is research around it.
I haven't heard that.
I will share them with you.
Thank you. What's your go-to quick and nutritious food plan for busy working youths who don't have time to cook and prefer grab-and-go options?
Take out time to cook. Do a meal plan for your day. Prepare meal for your entire day and carry them around and have home-cooked, nutritious meals. Don't go for hedonic diets. Don't go for thinking that a cheeseburger at least has some protein in it. It has way more worse stuff that can harm you. So go for nutrition meals, prepare them, and do meal preps.
What if you have 30 minutes to catch a flight? What will you grab and go?
I would just find a stall that is an andewala stall and just eat 5 egg whites
On the airport?
on the airport.
Okay. How much sleep is really enough?
At least 6 to 8 hours because your body requires some time to recover from whichever sedentary, active, athletic lifestyle that you have. A lot of people take time to go to sleep, so they don't count that. You actually require, some people think that they've slept for 6 hours, but it might be just 4 hours. They might be flipping their iPads or smartphones for 2 hours. That's not healthy. Just put everything away. Get your 6 hours of sleep every night.
Without blinking, how many hours do you sleep?
I will blink and I will lie. I sleep 2 hours a day.
Okay. What's a common sign of stress people tend to overlook?
People do not realize that when they feel tired, that is actually the primary sign of the fact that they are not getting either enough nutrition or sleep. And they rub it off as probably I went for a jog, that is why. Probably last night I drank too much, that is why. But if you're feeling tired on a regular basis, get yourself to a practitioner, medical practitioner, and see what's wrong.
Okay. Are fats like ghee and butter or butter chicken really as bad as they are made out to be? And you also said it.
I don't think they are bad, first of all. They are better than seed oils like canola, safflower. They are not as good as olive oil, both virgin, extra virgin. But in moderation, fat and ghee are good cooking mediums, especially for the Indian palate.
So one full butter chicken is in moderation. Yes or no?
No.
Thank you for that, for your time. I really enjoyed it. I hope you had a good time. And listeners, I hope you enjoyed that rapid fire round. Thank you for joining us on this enlightening episode of Live Your Best Life Unscripted. A big thank you to our incredible guests, Dr. Parag Singhal and Dr. Ratnesh Lal, for sharing their expertise and guiding us through the essential role of micronutrients and micronutrients and the safe, effective use of protein supplements. Today's conversation reminds us that nutrition is all about balance, informed choices, and understanding what works best for our unique needs. Whether it's through whole foods or carefully chosen supplements, the goal is to empower ourselves to live healthier, stronger, and more fulfilled lives. If you found value in today's discussion, please like, share, and subscribe to Live Your Best Life Unscripted. Let us know your thoughts and questions on our social media channels. And remember, small steps towards informed nutrition can lead to lasting transformations. Until next time, this is Ajay Khanna reminding you to stay curious, stay committed, and above all, stay healthy. Your best life starts with the choices you make today.